Hey, Horror House, Dave Brown here with my good buddy, aka South Jersey Jason. Welcome to the third channel. We are in line to go to Camp Novi Bosco.
Yeah.
My apologies. We are here for the tour of the original Friday the 13th film location in New Jersey. We are also going to meet some of the original alumni cast members from the original film and Part 2, too many to mention.
And Harry Manfredini.
And yes, the man who created the original soundtrack and multiple soundtracks for every Friday the 13th.
Everyone but Part 8.
Part 8, correct.
Yeah.
Why didn't he do Part 8?
He probably saw the script and was like, I'm not going to be part of that.
So I'm in Crazy Ralph attire. I'm going to go all balls out and see if I can get into the campground dressed as I am, because it is everyday attire.
They let Rick's son wear Part 2.
Right. So we'll see. We had breakfast at the original Blairstown Diner, where we were in full costume and attire. He was dressed as Jason, Part 3. And also our friend Stefan, who dressed up as Pamela Voorhees, which is a sight to be seen. We're heading into camp. It's a drizzly day, but it looks like it's going to pass. It's 70 degrees. And we'll bring you more information as it unfolds at the original Friday the 13th film location, Camp Crystal Lake. Going to Camp Blood, ain't you?
You're the messenger of God.
Look, I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason. His body was never recovered from the way he drowned. And if you listen to the old timers in town, they'll tell you he's still out there. Some sort of demented creature, surviving in the wilderness, full grown by now, stalking, stealing what he needs, living off wild animals and vegetation. Some folks claim they've even seen him right in this area. The girl who survived that night at Camp Blood, the Friday the 13th, she claimed she saw him. She disappeared 2 months later. Vanished. Blood was everywhere. Nobody knows what happened to her. Legend has it that Jason saw his mother beheaded that night, and that he took his revenge. A revenge that he'll continue to seek if anyone ever enters his wilderness again. And by now, he must know where the first return is. 5 years. 5 long years he's been dormant. And he's hungry. Jason's out there, watching, always on the prowl for intruders, waiting to kill, waiting to devour, thirsty for human blood.
Hey everybody, Dave Brown with Brian. And
You can see me.
how's that? We just finished up a bunch of segments. We did the Part 2 fire pit photo op.
Which was fun.
That was a great time.
Yeah.
And we'll upload some of those photos when we get it on the third channel. And Brian did a segment with John Fury playing as Paul. Relaying the lines from the famous campfire scene in Part 2.
Yeah, and he gave me eye contact almost the whole time, and I was
That was scary.
I was like on cloud 9.
But he was pretty good. He did each line, each word perfectly, and he did it like 6 or 8 times with different groups. Yeah. But it's a beautiful day. The temperature just dropped, as Kevin Bacon says.
I think the wind shifted 180 degrees.
Exactly.
It's going to tear through this valley like water.
Exactly. So we're going to be here up until 6 o'clock, and we'll do some more filming, and we'll try and get some of the cabins, and we'll bring you more information as it unfolds. All right, Brian, so as a final conclusion for our visit to Blairstown, New Jersey, and our tour of Camp Novi Bosco.
Go.
I know, I'm just saying.
You'll get it right one day. Yeah, it was a great weekend. We met a lot of new fans, hopefully they'll tune into our show. Ran into some old friends, and we did a really cool campfire video with Paul. You had Robbie Morgan sign your sheath.
Yeah, I have the not the actual knife, but I have the knife that Pamela Voorhees used in the film. I have the same knife, and I had her sign that for me. Would have liked to have Betsy Palmer sign, but we've lost her a long time ago. Yeah. But we ended up in Hope, New Jersey, for our last part of this. We gave a private tour to a fan that we met at the campground. Nice young lady from Vermont. Yeah. And her name is Anna, and a shout out to Anna. And it was great to have breakfast with you today. So we went to the Moravian Cemetery, where we saw Annie walk into the picture early in the film, and then we ended up coming to where Ralph made his grand appearance for the first time. And then over here is where Enos gives the butt lift to Annie to help her.
And then up just right across from us is the cafe.
Oh yes, the cafe where she goes in and asks how far to camp in Crystal Lake. So yeah, all in all, what was your opinion? I thought it was a fantastic.
It was a fun weekend. I'm tired from all the walking.
Yeah.
But shout out to Chris and Stacy from CMB Promotions for putting on a good time, and all the cast members were great.
Yeah. Very, very, very approachable.
And we couldn't ask for better weather too.
Oh yeah, cool and overcast. Minimal rain.
And then obviously shout out to Gary at the Blairstown.
Oh yeah, Gary. Yeah, thank you so much. It was fun cosplaying at the diner the morning before the event. We had a blast, and thank you for breakfast. And we will see you again in Blairstown. We're up here more than our own home sometime. But keep an eye out for us. We're going to be doing more segments of Choose View and Review, and we got some new things coming up, and hopefully interviews for the summer.
Yeah, so we'll be doing Piranha in the upcoming week.
Yes, the original Piranha. Big trucks, small town. That's what you're hearing. So that's it, Brian. It was great spending the weekend with you and going to camp.
Sorry for my snoring.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. Sorry for my bathroom problems. Long story. You don't want to know it. Anyway, that's it. And thank you for joining us on the Third Channel, and keep an eye out for us. Hey, everybody. It's Dave Brown, along with my good friend Brian Emmenheiser, a.k.a. South Jersey Jason. You are watching the Third Channel. We have been on a hiatus, summer break, more or less. It's been a minute, Brian. What has it been since June? We've done something like this?
I think so. I can't even recall what our last episode was.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously, I think, a film review, but we've got so much to cover. We've got a lot to catch up on. We're not going to review anything this time around. We're just going to do Let's Talk Chop like we usually do. And basically it's like Let's Talk Shop, pun on words, but Let's Talk Chop as in horror. We're going to cover our visit to the original Friday the 13th campground, Camp Novi Bosco. Because I always screw that up, that last part. We had a fantastic visit, a tour. Semi-tour, but it was mostly to visit a lot of the original cast members from the Part 2 cast and a few of the original and Part 2. I mean, Alice was in Part 2 for like that big.
Yeah.
But, we got to do a really cool meet and greet. I know it's been on my bucket list. Brian, you've done a tour before of the campground, right?
Yeah, I did back in 2019, and everything was open, so I got to see things you didn't get to see, like the archery range, which I know you wanted to see.
Yeah.
the overnighters see it. Obviously, they paid Mugu bucks, so it just makes sense for them to see it.
Yeah. But it was nice. I like guided tours because you get to do your own thing and walk around and mingle. And we started the morning out that morning at the diner. We got into costume. We met up with Stefan from Canada, and he did his best Mrs. Voorhees and took some pictures with him. And then we met up with Rick Paulton and his son.
I won't lie. Standing next to him, sometimes I get uncomfortable vibe.
He just gets into character. He loves it,
because he's a dude dressed as Mrs. Voorhees.
He's like our
then I warm up to it, and
he's like our own Norman Bates.
Yeah, I can't stop looking at the knockers.
Stefan, you got some good knockers.
Yeah, I mean, I got to dress up as Ralph. And
your Ralph, and we'll talk about that in a second, but your Ralph was great. I did part 4, and we were lucky because the day before it was like hotter than hell out.
Yeah, it was very comfortable.
We were lucky because the day started out cool. It did rain, in the morning, but by the time we got ready for our tour,
remember we were waiting in line with the car. It was just coming down.
Yeah, and then by the time we got done, I mean, the clouds didn't go away, but it stopped raining.
Which was probably beneficial because all they said was the day before was it was excruciatingly hot.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind an overcast. It adds to the gloom of the campground.
Exactly. And, they harp on not being in cosplay, but no one said anything about your Ralph. Your Ralph, I think, they should hire you for future tours for photo ops. Yeah. You can make some good money. So we drive in.
I'm not like that.
But could you imagine if you charged like $5?
They have a replica of the bike just standing by. They let me sit on it. I think they let me sit on it for a photo.
They did, and normally you they would charge, but they didn't charge you, which is nice. But as you drive in, it's a pretty long driveway, but it's really cool when you see the long, like the landscape Camp Novi Bosco sign. Because in the movie it was Camp Crystal Lake there, and you get that feeling. Yeah, you get that feeling, and we parked and. Obviously, people started recognizing you as soon as you got out, and we walk up, and there's the replica of Ned's pickup. There's the Jeep, of course, the Camp Crystal Lake sign, Ralph's bike, and they take Polaroid pictures. I think it was like $15.
Pretty cool if you relate the Polaroid to the 80s. I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It just adds to the ambiance. And then once we get through that one section. We go around like the first building, and off to our right is the mess hall where the camp counselors are singing the campfire songs. And
wait, was that there? I thought it was in a cabin.
No, that's the fireplace. Yeah. I think in the movie it was enclosed or something. It was enclosed. Yeah, but that's the fireplace.
Yeah, I got the vibe it was a cabin, but it makes and then we got a lunch that we didn't expect, which was pretty tasty.
Yeah, it was like your basic, well, not your basic. It was like some type of like hoagie sandwich, but it was really good.
Like Italian, a classic Italian.
Yeah, with cookies and juice, and it was nice. So then we started.
I wouldn't have eaten at the Blairstown Diner if I knew I was getting that.
Likewise, but I'm not going to let my money go to waste if you're giving me food.
True, I've worked it down.
Yeah. I think I was bloated after that. So I think the first place we headed off to was the cabin that had Lauren Marie Taylor, Bill Randolph, Russell Todd, and Amy Steele. And
that was big. I felt like that was the big draw cabin.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. So I immediately wanted to get Russell Todd's autograph, and what a nice guy. I wish he had the photo of him dancing with Muffin now.
Up close and personal,
And he still looks good and keeps himself in shape. And he had the photo of like the shirtless of him, and he called himself Buffin.
I kept pushing you to buy that.
Yeah. And then right in front of him, actually was, or not in front of him, but like when we walk in off to the right, it was John Fury, who played Paul.
And his wife.
Yeah, who was also in Friday the 13th movie. It's escaping me which one she was in.
It was like after 3, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say...
Was it 5?
Not 5. 7, I think.
Was she a... I don't...
I think if I recall, she was in part 8, and I think so, and played the student that had to do the science report for the principal. Remember? I think that was her, but I could be mistaken, and I didn't know that at the time. Because hell, I would have got her autograph because it would just add to my collection. And it was pretty warm in there, though. That's one thing I remembered. But Amy had her own little area.
Well, you like doing that. I was just getting stopped left and right for photographs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, it's the second time I've worn the costume. The first time was at your event in Pennsylvania with Marie, the horror sideshow.
Yes. Yeah.
This was the second time I got to go full force in front of a lot of more people, and I was like really taken that like more people. Well, it just made sense. People would recognize it that we're going to the campground.
Yeah. It was a good choice to wear that, and
most comfortable cosplay.
And we'll jump ahead. The state trooper is coming down the driveway with the volunteer, and the volunteers over the PA system. We're looking for Ralph.
Yeah. What calls you wants you home or something?
That was great. And then you took the picture with the trooper.
Yeah.
And you took a lot of great. I took a lot of great photos of you and the guest, like in front of the lake area.
Yeah,
which is nice. Yeah.
We made some new friends, which I've connected on social media. But I think the biggest one that we met was the that woman from Vermont, correct?
Anna. Yeah.
Really super.
We'll get into her in a second. Because I remember seeing her that day, and I thought she was like a volunteer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
She was very heavily tat.
Yes, and that's what I noticed about her was her real cool leg tattoos. You met Robbie Morgan, who I did not get to meet because she left early, and I was so pissed.
So funny story about Robbie Morgan in that situation. So I brought my Pamela Voorhees, Betsy Palmer knife from the original film, not but the same model make, that pretty prime condition that I also showcased a small part in. His name was Jason. I don't know if you remember seeing it. It was in his cabin. But in any case, I said, well, we've lost Betsy Palmer, but who would be the next great person to sign it? So we both agreed Robbie Morgan would be the best one to sign it because it was her demise.
Yeah.
So I go into the cabin where Ron Milkey's up front, and I say my highs to him. And then I approach her. She has a short line, and she immediately loved the costume. And we were talking. I said, I have this sheath because I didn't want to bring the knife in because of obvious reasons. I don't want to scare her. I said, but this is the sheath that Betsy Palmer had on her side of the knife that she, sported and did you in with. I said, could you sign the back of the sheath? No questions asked. She goes, what would you like me to sign? I said, could you just write my demise and then Robbie Morgan and
was she taken aback by that? No.
Not at all. It didn't seem at the moment, but she asked me how to spell demise. I said, okay, so on my way. And then Lauren Marie Taylor, I think, did a follow-up on her Not the Final Girl podcast, Robbie, and they talked about the campground. And, pardon me, Lauren Marie Taylor asked her, what is the most craziest thing a fan has asked you to sign? And guess who was number one?
You.
Ding, ding.
So you are forever immortalized on audio.
Yeah. She goes,
creeper.
Biggest thing I ever had to sign. And I was kind of offended for just a second. And then I'm like, well, you know what? If I ever meet her again, which I'm sure I will eventually in the future, I'm going to say, you know what? How creepy was it that you signed that? Because I really want to know. Because I'm a really genuine guy,
Yeah.
Not, I don't come off scary. But I just thought that was pretty friggin' hilarious that I am marked in her memory as being that creepy, crazy Ralph.
what better cosplay to wear then, but that's, did you put it in the shadow box yet or anything?
Actually, what had happened was I was in the back of my car after we were together, and the sheath had heated because it's leather from the heat.
Did
so
it shrink?
I had to lay it back out and flatten it, but it's in good shape.
Good.
And it didn't affect the autograph or anything, but no, I got to answer your question. I'm putting it back into the shadow box.
Nice.
Photo, because the original photo is of Pam holding it.
Yeah.
A 4x5 of Robbie getting the slip.
That's cool. Yeah. So while you were doing that, I was in line to do the part 2 campfire scene, which there wasn't a lot of people. I think
there were 4 or 5 groups.
Yeah, it just took longer because they had to wait for people to be quiet. Because and John Fury was getting pissed at one point. I could see it in his face because after they would say quiet, the people just didn't care, But I was
that to John Fury.
What's that?
How can anyone do that to John Fury?
Yeah. So I was one person away from him, so I'm like 3 feet away from him, and he's like giving me eye contact as he's talking, and I'm like getting like goosebumps, you know. So that was just a great, he did great,
that scene in that film has got to be one of the, for the horror fans, one of the most iconic, because without it, we wouldn't have a decent bridge between the first and the original, because there's so many people that didn't see the original that probably went and saw part 2 and like, okay, what are we seeing? And for him to tell that story of like the 5-year gap, and it was just so well done, and it felt so creepy.
And it was great how they put it in the beginning of the final chapter, because like this was going to be the final chapter.
Exactly. Pardon me. So yeah, I love that scene. That's one of my favorite, and I'm sure it's Ron Gunn's one of his favorites, and Stefan's too.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was cool because I think I filmed that for you.
You did. Yep. And then after that, we did the campfire photo, I believe, or the campfire photo was before that.
Yeah.
I forget, but that was great because you know what? Lauren sees me and it's not, and she knows us so well. It's not like taking pictures with a celebrity. It's like taking a picture of their friend. I
felt that with sitting there, and I I always wanted to meet Amy Steele. I only had few words with her, but she felt like the next door neighbor's daughter, like, hey, how's, they're all like, how's life? And, but I think that comes with age, and, they know they're not mainstreaming anymore, and they've calmed down, and they just appreciate the fans at this point. And, I don't think they're obviously not making Mugu bucks off of this.
Well, no, because they have, she's a retired psychologist or psychiatrist. Right. So, I think it's
probably banking now is Adrienne King, because she's being brought back for the Peacock series of Crystal Lake from what we're so she must be making a nice little penny for that,
I think she's going to be the narrator.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, because you can't put her in a role. It wouldn't make sense. No. In a fan film, obviously, but this is going to be the origins up until the original. You can't put her in a visual role. So I think she's just going to be a narrator.
About Alice, like what? She was an artist,
Yeah. But
it would be very cool, or even just like an Easter egg. Maybe she's a waitress at a restaurant, or
something, or
I wouldn't bring back her character for sure.
No. I think, hopefully they'll start filming early the way everything's going, they'll probably have to wait until the springtime. Well, it's California, so they could do it really anytime.
Seasons in California if you wanted it.
Yeah, but but they might.
There's still snow in Tahoe in July.
Yeah, to get the effect of the East Coast, they'll probably do like Vancouver or something.
That was what I heard a whisper. It was British Columbia or Vancouver,
and then
they want to do those classic pine trees.
And if the first season does well, I heard that they might do some scenes in Blairstown,
which would be cool because as we all know, nothing's really changed.
Right, yeah. So yeah, we did the group photo, which was great with the part 2 cast, the campfire, which is awesome. In the video that preceded us talking, it's in the clip, and John Fury's making a goofy face, but it was great.
How about late for the photo, and Amy Steele was like,
"Where's Paul?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, it was a great putting everything together on the talent wise, to Stacy and Chris for getting all them together, and everything ran smoothly. So yeah, and then when we went back to the diner, Gary was talking to Anna, and she's from Vermont. It was her first time down, and she just had a lot of great stories. Like, we met up with her the next day, and we showed her around Hope, and then when we're walking around, she mentioned that her daughter had her bachelorette party at the Lizzie Borden house. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, her fan right there.
Yeah.
So we reconnected with her via, I think, a few texts, but she invited, I think, you up to a place that she works.
Both of us up whenever we want to. It's a hotel, very beautiful old hotel in Vermont, and it's haunted.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna take her up on that offer probably maybe next fall.
Yeah.
So
are you paranormal thing like that?
What's that?
Are you into the paranormal thing like that?
For sure. I've been on a really good ghost tour in Gettysburg, and I captured some stuff on the one ghost tour, which is pretty cool.
For me, when I haven't done any, in all honesty, and I'm not saying they don't exist, but if I was to do anything like that, I don't think I could do a tour. I just want to do it by myself with maybe one or two good close friends, and see what I encounter without.
Oh, exactly. I would love to be a part of like a investigation where it's just like a team, But we were in Gettysburg, and it was after Labor Day, so the crowd was not busy at all. So I think there was maybe 10 or 15 in the tour, so it wasn't that bad. And there was more room to breathe, especially in the basement of the orphanage and everything.
Yeah, but I don't need somebody saying to me, well, this is where, there's the biggest hot spot.
It wasn't like that. It was more of a historical ghost tour. Yeah. Which I love the historical aspect of it. So that was camp, and their last tour of the season is this October for Friday 13th weekend. And
but that's not with any of the cast members.
No, it's just the last tour of the season, and it's Friday the 13th weekend in October, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Please, like right around the corner.
Yeah. So, did you catch any new horror movies this summer?
So, horror movie recaps. Nothing that is memorable. I want to go see, hopefully tonight, it's on my list, is the new Dracula movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Mm-hmm. Is that it?
Yeah. Did you see the behind the scenes of them putting him in makeup?
Yeah, I did.
That was cool.
Yeah. And that's very minimal CGI from what I'm told.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I haven't heard any negativity. I haven't heard anything positive either.
I mean, it didn't do well at the box office, but come on. I hate when they put horror movies out like in the summertime. I wish it was more closer to the fall myself.
I think that inspiration too maybe just isn't there anymore. I don't know. I don't know. But we both saw the Black Demon, was it?
The trailer was way better than the movie with Josh Lucas.
Was Meg kind of related, a curse upon this Mexican village, and there was an oil refinery involved, and I was like, the acting was horrible. There was no chemistry between the husband and wife. The CGI was bad. It was an insult to anything in a Mexican culture, I felt. There's a point in time where, like, when they start doing it, it's like there's no research involved. It just seemed really, really, really bad.
Now, is the Meg 2 on your list?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I read the books. I don't know if you read the books of Meg.
The books sound way better than the movie.
They were more enjoyable. They were more, but I imagine it's way different than Hollywood came out.
Right. Yeah, I haven't been to the movies. I couldn't even tell you. I think the last movie I saw in the theaters was Terrifier 2, but I got a bunch of good stuff on 4K. I got Jaws and Jaws 2 on 4K,
which is on all of them right now.
Yeah. And then I got a whole bunch of Stephen King classics. I got Carrie. I got Carrie. Christine looks beautiful on 4K. Pet Cemetery looks good on 4K.
Which are dogs barking. Coming out the prequel story to the reboot, not the original.
Right. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to put you on mute. My damn dogs are barking.
All right.
And we are back. So it's going to take place during Vietnam. I kind of wished it was more the prequel to the original Pet Cemetery, but they want to keep it current. So
that keeps costs down for propping and and you know the just so bad. It's just that the chemistry wasn't there. I mean,
right.
I did like John Lithgow coming in and playing that role, but he didn't hold up the torch to Ed Gwynn. Is that his name?
Ed Gwynn, yeah. Not at all. But you know, John Lithgow is kind of like the Ed Gwynn of our or my generation. You know,
Fred Gwynn,
yeah. I also got The Burning on 4K, and I have to tell you, that held up. Like when I watched Friday the 13th on 4K, you can see the adhesive, you know. But with The Burning, because they didn't have too much of like, you didn't see too much of like the shears going into people, more like the after effect. It looked really good.
Yeah, Beanie did a good job with that. I mean, the burn prosthetics, I don't know how many years after that Freddy came out from Nightmare on Elm Street, but
4 years.
Three
years.
So when you look at a burn victim, I mean, look, he was in Vietnam. Maybe he saw some NATCOM that did that.
Well, he only had 3 days to make that mask.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. So, and then
wasn't he a photographer?
He was a photographer for the Army during Vietnam, I believe.
Yeah. So he had some pretty bad burns, but for a burn victim, it just looked way too melted for me.
Yeah.
You know. Then again, I'm not a burn specialist, so there's probably different degrees, you know.
Right.
It's great. It's a great story.
And then I pre-ordered Rosemary's Baby's coming out in 4K. That's coming out, I think, September or October. And Prey was just announced for Blu-ray and 4K. Because whenever movies come to the streaming, they don't have a DVD release with it, which sucks. And the fans wanted it. So
Chainsaw Massacre, I mean,
that's not available on Blu-ray either. Yeah. Speaking of which, I revisited the franchise. So I started off with Netflix again.
Right.
And aside from the wokeness of it, it's not all that bad. It's just I didn't like, you know, the Sally story, like Hardesty. They did, you know, they tarnished her story.
That played Sally in that movie. I just saw again. I rewatched Mandy. Did you ever see Mandy?
I never saw Mandy.
Yeah, with Nicolas Cage.
I tried to, and the beginning I think was just so boring.
Mind fuck. It's kind of like it feels a lot like this Hereditary. Her film, but there's an occult in this movie, and she was one of the occult people that played.
So I watched that.
I wish they dwelled on her story a little bit more. Like that would have been a better emphasis than the woke story.
Yeah. So I started off with that. Then I watched the remake and then the prequel to the remake. Actually, no, I watched Leatherface, which is a prequel to the original, which has Stephen Dorff in it.
That opened up well.
It did, and you know, watching it for a second time, I appreciated it a little bit more. So in that timeline, it goes Leatherface, the 74 version, then Texas 3D. They're all in the same timeline.
So wait, which one was the one where they went back to the original house and what's his name played the cook?
Bill Moseley?
Yeah.
That was 3D.
All right. So I love that opening. That was what I liked of that movie.
That was probably the best part of the movie. After that, you could just finish it.
Yeah. Gunner,
you could take that part of the movie and then just fade into the Netflix movie per se.
Yeah.
And then I watched the remake and then the prequel to the remake. So
with what's his name?
Well, it had Jessica Biel in the remake.
And the sheriff, what was his name?
R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah, I mean, he sold that. Now, was he supposed to be? I'm trying to think of who his character was based on.
It wouldn't be based on the original. It was basically the Sawyer family, but just a whole set of new characters.
Okay, all right, because I was getting confused. Like the old man was, I thought was a grandfather at one point, but then he called him uncle somebody. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. It was very weird. So, like, now in the original timeline, they're all brothers. The cook and the hitchhiker and Leatherface.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
the grandfather is obviously
yeah. And then like in the remake, because they adopted him, they called he was like his uncle, or the Ermey was, but I don't know who the tow truck driver would be in relation. But then like the woman who I thought was R. Lee Ermey's wife, he kept calling her mama. So I don't know if that was just like an old time when they would say ma, ma and pa.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It could have been ancestral at that point.
Yeah. And then the first full week in September, the Mahoney's playing Leatherface Part 3 at the drive-in. So I might go see that, Speaking of Mahoney, I'm going this upcoming Thursday to see The Burning.
Okay, cool.
And
let me know how I've always wanted to go to that drive-in.
Oh, for sure. Shelley Bruce and Bonnie DeRosa are going to be there. They had small pieces in the movie. Shelley Bruce played Tiger, and Bonnie was Marnie. She was the blonde with the glasses. But yeah, I had a great conversation with them on my other podcast, and talking about media, like what was it like working with Jason Alexander, and all those great people.
That movie, he was still, as far as I felt, he was Costanza.
Oh, he was auditioning. I mean, you figured 6 years later he was Costanza.
Yeah. And
she said the reason that he always wore a shirt, especially like in the canoeing scenes or the swimming scenes, he was just all hairy, and he's supposed to play a teenager, Yeah.
I think you saw him without a shirt in Seinfeld, and you saw how hairy he was.
Yes. But yeah, it was great. And actually, I had asked them about, do they remember where the camps were, because I can't find any information, and Shelley still has the call sheets for the days she was there with the address to the camp.
Oh.
So she was going to send me a copy, but I said, why don't we do one better? Why don't we all get together and let's do a filming location video?
I think that was upstate New York.
Yeah, it was near Buffalo, like outside of Buffalo.
Far from, probably not far from Sleepaway Campground.
Right. So yes, that's what's coming up with me, and then we got Friday the 13th coming up soon in another 2 months, and so
you just did a convention too, didn't you?
Oh yeah. So I went to NJ HorrorCon in Edison at the same location when we went to the PA one back in March or April.
Right.
So Ryan's a great promoter. He puts on a good show. And it was nice to see, because I'm part of the Horror Con Lounge Facebook group.
Right.
And there's a lot of Monster Mania diehard fans in that group,
Okay.
lot of Dave Hagen lovers in that group. I'm not fond of Dave Hagen myself, but a bunch of them went to the NJ HorrorCon, and I was happy to see that they praised Ryan because he gets some talent that Dave's going more mainstream now. Right. He's getting the bigger guys.
Right. But there's a bigger draw for money, and then everything goes up in price too.
Yeah. But it was nice to see some people that don't make the rounds too often. Like he had a Fright Night reunion, which was nice. So you had William Ragsdale, Amanda Bierce, and then I forget the guy's name, but played Evil Ed. You had Chris Sarandon, and then the guy that played his like vampire bodyguard, which was nice. Eric Roberts was finally there. He didn't cancel because every time he gets
Lisa Rose canceled this time.
Yeah, which is something must have for her to do that. Yeah, but I didn't see Eric. He must have went on lunch. My friend Gracie is a diehard Eric Roberts fan and has been trying to meet him for the past 30 years. And every time she goes to an event that he's at, he cancels. And she didn't go to this event. But I got to meet 2 Part 5 cast members that were on my bucket list. I forgot after I got to her autograph, Stacy already got me her autograph, but I got to meet her anyway. And that was Tiffany Helm, who played Violet in Part 5.
Got a nice photo with her. She's pretty tiny.
It was nice to be with actors that I'm taller than. But her mom was actually in the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and 4. She played Kristen's mom, the drunk on delay. But yeah, she was very, very nice. And, I told her, you're my favorite girl in Part 5. And it's great to finally see you on the East Coast because you're very rare.
Falling out with her promoter for a little while. And I don't know, is Stacy repping her or is she on her own?
No, I want to say Stacy just started repping her. You know?
Falling out with and she announced it on her page. I'm changing management right now, so forgive. I won't be as certain. But she was in that recent movie, The Tall Grass. I think it was a series.
Was she?
Very small.
I don't remember her. Okay.
Cameo part. Like, I think as somebody's coming out of the grass, she's like a gas station.
Okay. And then I got to meet Shavar Ross, who played Reggie the Reckless, and this is always my story because I really wanted to spend a little bit of time talking with him, and he had no one in line, right? There was one person in front of me who had just got his signature, but just kept talking his ear off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, come on. I'm like, 15 minutes. I looked at my watch. So I by the time I got to see him, of course, there's a line behind me, and I didn't want to take up, their time. I wanted to be respectful. So I said to him, when you were first announced, I'm in this Facebook group, and the one guy said, I'm going to cosplay as the owner of the bicycle shop from Different Strokes when he was the pervert. He started cracking up.
What did he say?
He was laughing. He's like, oh man, I forget the actor's name, but he was like, it was so great to work with him, And then I said, how does it feel to be like the original Scream King?
Yeah.
And I said, did you happen to see the video edit they did of you when you screamed and when you ran away? It was like the Super Mario theme when there's trouble, He's like, yeah, I started cracking up with that, but very nice.
What is it, 60s now?
He would have to be mid-50s, I would think. Right. Yeah, because he was like, when Different Strokes came on, and he was like 10, I think, when he first came on.
Age bracket.
Yeah, so and then again, he's shorter than me, and I did not expect that at all. So very nice guy.
I've seen him in the past at events, and his stature amongst others seemed pretty tiny.
And he doesn't look. He looks like he's in his 40s. He looks really good. He's really kept himself healthy. So yeah, so NJ, and then like the vendors, there was nothing that popped out to me that's I want to buy that what I came home with of all things.
In Atlantic City or
no, it was in Edison.
Yeah, but are they done in Atlantic City?
Oh no, they have Atlantic City coming up in October. Okay, my birthday weekend. Back forth. Yeah, so in September they're going to be in PA, I think near Sesame Place, like in that area, Langhorne.
Oh, okay, that's more central north. Okay.
Yeah, and then October they'll be in Atlantic City. So they're going to be doing like I think like 3 shows a year.
You're planning on doing Chiller, right?
Yes, I can't wait for that. October 27th, 28th, and 29th. I
you for that.
What's that?
I might join you for one of those.
Yeah, I'm going that Saturday because
I would love to know if what's his name is coming from Halloween 3.
Tom Atkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up there. I would love to get his autograph.
Yeah, I'm going mainly. They just announced 2 people from Friday the 13th Part 6. The girl who played Tony Goldwyn's girlfriend. She's the one that had the American Express.
Oh,
Nancy McLaughlin's her name. Yeah. And then one of the cops from Part 6, who I think he got the dart in the eye when he throws it.
A friend requested me. Speaking of that movie, I think you're friends with him too. The bald guy, the cocaine guy.
Oh, Bob DeSimone.
He friended. He wanted me to be his friend.
Nice. Actually, my friend Jim. Jim. Huh?
I think it's because you're friends with him, and he probably saw that we were.
Yeah, and the reason I got to be friends with him was my friend Jim got me his autograph, and they hit it well off. And he's like, "Yeah, Brian does a podcast with a friend of his, Dave. You should go on." He's like, "Sure," but I didn't want to bother him just yet because he lives in the summer. He lives in California, and then in the winter, he lives like in Massachusetts or something like that, or vice versa. So
after Friday the 13th,
yeah. So I think that's his code.
He was swarmy.
Yeah. But yeah, he would be someone fun to talk to. So yeah, for Chiller, they're doing a Christmas Story reunion because in 2024 it's the 40th anniversary, and this is the only East Coast convention they're doing, and they're only doing a handful of conventions. So I'm debating if I want to go in my pink nightmare outfit, but
you should bring Alfie ornament I gave you and have him.
So I'm definitely going for Peter Billingsley. I already have Zach Ward's autograph, who was the bully, but I can't afford everyone's autograph, so I'm just going for Peter Billingsley. And obviously, if they do a group photo, so that's what I'm going to Chiller for. And I'd never been, but I hear it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of diehards that repeat that, and that's I think closer for me from Brooklyn to go to.
Yeah, I think it's in Parsippany.
Yeah, so 45 minutes, hour.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, it's only an hour and 10 minutes for me. I think it is. Yeah. So, so that was NJ HorrorCon. Wasn't too impressed with the vendors. Nothing against the promoter or anything. It just nothing stood out. There was a Japanese poster of Jason Part 8, and I was looking at it, and of course, when I go back, it's gone. Yeah, I love those international posters.
Wasn't meant to be.
No, that's all right. But yeah, so we got the Friday 13th coming up, and to segue into that, if you haven't heard already, the diner's up for sale.
Yeah, I mean that's bittersweet for us because we love Gary.
Yeah.
And, the connection I made with him was to film that scene for his name was Jason in there, and then just to keep it going with him. Every time I come in with Leighton, my daughter, we have breakfast. He always, don't have to worry about paying Dave.
Yeah.
Just an upstanding, great dad type of guy. Like when I talk to my father,
Yeah. And like I say, he could be Steve Dash's stunt double. But yeah, we're going to miss Gary, but he wants to retire, and I don't blame him. He's still young, 71 years young. So he just wants to retire and,
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, he wants to retire down to Florida. He's thinking of maybe being a snowbird. So, yeah. So,
I think in Long Island that he can come visit when he wants.
Yeah. So, it's up for sale.
Right.
What's that?
They're looking for possible investors too. So.
Yeah. So if I told Mike I'll open my piggy bank and see what I got. But obviously, as soon as the realtor shared it, it was on every single news forum, like in the Friday world or horror world. And what? We know what made me happy when I shared it. Now I only have like 3,400 likes on my Facebook page. Right. Friday the 13th franchise has 93,000 likes, like followers. Gary comments on my post. Made me feel good, So, but then of course, I'm part of a couple of the Blairstown groups, and the old timers, they could care less. Knock it down. Let's put a Chick-fil-A there. You're a moron for saying that, because the diner brings in that revenue, like for Friday 13th weekends or when the summer camp does tours.
Film Americana. It's I mean, like we were saying, I wouldn't go all balls out making it a Friday 13th themed restaurant, but for nostalgic reasons, I would get some tasteful pictures of the cast and crew up on
for walls. Sure. I mean, you probably had to take down a couple of mirrors, though.
Yeah. I replicate the counter again to what it was back in showcase it in some way, shape, or form. So when the fans come in, they're like, wow, that's a great.
It'd be really cool. Take down a couple of mirrors and have like an artist do like a nice little mural.
Yeah.
Of the
like Nobi Bosco. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Friday 13th weekend, I'm going to be at the diner from 9 to 2. I would normally stay all day, but I'll talk about the night part. So I'm going down there from 9 to 2. And again, I'm doing wedding vow renewals. I already have a guy that signed up for it, hoping to get a couple more. Cool. So I'll have the same old setup with like the mother shrine as the altar. You get a gift certificate, and then, or not gift certificate, a wedding certificate for a vow renewal. And then you show that to the diner and you'll get 10% off your meal. Our friend RG Henning, aka Ron Gann, is coming down to promote his Sackhead Part 2. And then it was announced a couple of weeks ago that he's writing a follow-up for Friday 13th Part 3, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, which was baffling because I didn't know he was a Part 3 fan. I just know him
he likes just 1 through 4. 2 is his favorite. So, it'd be great. I kind of wish he would backtrack and do a 1 and then do a 3. But hey, each his own. I really love the artwork for it.
Yeah.
I think did I share that with you, or did you see it on Facebook?
It's the hockey mask.
Yeah, with the 3D effect. And then I just made a post the other day that Upside Down Jenny, she's from South Jersey. She's a local recording artist. She actually reached out to me a few months ago. She wants to make the summer camp video, and she wrote a song as an orientation for the camp counselors at Crystal Lake. And she had a campground in the Cape May area all panned out, but then the last minute something fell through. So she's still trying to work on that. And then because of the camp falling through, some of the actors that were going to be like the counselors changed their mind, so she's starting from scratch again. But she is going to be playing from 11 to 12 at the diner, and she actually has gift bags with little Friday 13th swag that she'll give out. So listen to her song; it's really cool. I
shared it with me, and I did listen to it. I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
So that Friday night, I'm going to be going to South Jersey to Mullica Hill for Creamy Acres Night of Terror because they want to do something special for Friday the 13th. And it's also the 13th of October is also National Haunted House Day or something like that. So it's like a big thing in their world for the haunted attraction. So that'll be fun. I've been going to the Night of Terrors off and on since like 2007, and it's the best one in my opinion in Jersey. There's not a lot of haunted attractions in Jersey. They're the only ones like in South Jersey. There's a couple in North Jersey, but Night of Terrors like
a haunt in a time. I mean, I think the last one was like a corn maze one.
Okay.
And it was fair. I think it was in Pennsylvania. But it's like, it's timing with work and late, and it's like, can I get to do one of these things? It's tough.
It's tough, but I'm actually going to 2 in September with Jared because he's a haunt reviewer, so he gets the press passes. So we're going to Field of Screams in Lancaster, which we went to last year. The one that I'm really looking forward to, which he feels is the best in Pennsylvania, is up in Scranton. It's called Reaper's Revenge. But there's a lot of great haunts. You know what? By me.
Many moons ago, I did the Philadelphia or Pennsylvania State Penitentiary.
Oh yeah.
I did a October evening tour, which was really creepy.
It was just a tour. It wasn't like the haunted like actors. Yeah, I did the daytime tour. That place is awesome.
Yeah, it would have been, I think, a hazard. I think they tried to do it once or twice, but there's still a lot of debris in certain areas, so they didn't want to have any Bigfoot fall or trip.
Right.
But yeah, I love that. It was in October, and they did it at night, and they had these special like creepy lights that were casting red hues in some areas, But yeah, I love that one. That was oh my God, we're going back 20-25 years now.
You old man.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much all caught up. I have 2 new costumes that J3 is finalizing, and that's the Jason Goes to Hell and the Ghost Jason. And then it's pretty much it on my end. I just ordered the Frankenstein NECA, the black and white one.
Oh yeah.
And then they have a Creature from Black Lagoon. I ordered that, but it's in color. My luck, they'll announce the black and white one. You started playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. So real quick, going back to the NECA, how about that new Tom Atkins, the Atkins one that
I'm pissed off though.
That is strictly for the convention and I don't know which one it is. It's a hard.
It's the Halloween 45 anniversary. And it's only limited to like I think 1,000.
Yeah, it's only going to be sold at a con.
Well, that's how the Mrs. Voorhees and the Jason one was.
Yeah,
Sean Clark. Damn you, Sean Clark.
Diorama you're talking about. That was
not the diorama. It came in.
I had it. It came in a box this big.
Yes, that wasn't an exclusive. I don't think the one I'm talking about. You're talking about adult Jason. This is little Jason. It was Mrs. Voorhees and like 12-year-old Jason in a clamshell packaging.
It's like up to $1,200 now.
Yeah. So yeah, they announced a Tom Atkins cloth figure, which would be great if you have the 3 trick-or-treaters for that set, which you do.
It comes with the skull mask, and it comes with the TV.
Does it come with a 6-pack and cigarettes? But yeah, I was excited for that, and then they said con exclusive. I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I saw it through the promotion from what's his name, the guy that does the Sean. Is it Sean
Clark? Yeah,
because one was sent to him for a review because I think he reps them. Yeah, he reps them. So I'm like, you prick, I want that.
Yeah, Sean has all the good stuff.
He's got mad collection. It's insane. So going back to after I interrupted you, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the video game, finally came out August 18th. I've been waiting for it for about 2 years since they announced it. It's by the same producer as the Friday the 13th game, which we all know is on its way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped playing when they maxed everybody out to level 50. Everybody's level 50 now.
Yeah.
So It's just not fun anymore. And because of the rights, apparently, still going on, Friday the 13th is dead in the water. So Gunn said, let's try and do something new. And they produced Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's pretty much ideally the same as Friday the 13th. It's a survivor game. You've got they call them the victims, and you got the family. So right now, as of now, it's the hitchhiker, Leatherface, the cook, and 2 additional characters that they made up who look like teens, a female and a male, and they're fun, but they're not from the franchise. And I think they're still trying to get rights for other movie.
Well, I saw a supposed leaked photo, quote unquote, the different skin. So there's like the Pretty Woman.
I've already obtained Pretty Woman.
Oh, you can get that one. Oh,
yeah. Skins for Leatherface, and there's a free saw pack. If you go on PS4 right now, he has 3 different types of chainsaws you can choose from. And I paid $6 for additional fatality kills, which is a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, it was only $6, but the price was great. It was under $40, for the game, because I think a lot of the people that are buying it are guys like us. The graphics are like Friday the 13th. They're not spectacular. They're good, but the gameplay,
the detail though.
Yeah. I think they'd be better on PS5, but
I bought it for PS5. I'm hoping to get the PS5 and that's gonna be my birthday present,
Yeah.
But I think the graphics, like the character graphics, look better than the Friday 13th.
Actually, the cook, he really looks like the motions and everything. And they brought back Kane to play Leatherface for the game, like they did Friday 13th, which, I don't know if he actually stunt doubled in a couple of the Texas Chainsaw.
I knew he did the trailer, and then I was just informed that he actually did a scene in Leatherface Part 3, which I didn't know.
And they brought back Ed Neal to do the voiceover for the game. Is that his name, Ed Neal?
The hitchhiker? Yeah.
Yes, does the voiceover. All in all, it's probably an 8 out of 10 for me. I don't play it as diehard as I have Friday the 13th. I mean, that was the only game I played for 2 years.
Yeah.
There's a skill tree in it. So as you get points, you can go in different directions to build your skill tree. What's cool about that is if you don't like how your skill tree is, you can regain all those points back and take a different direction of the tree.
Now, have you played as Leatherface?
Yeah, it's not easy. He is not he is a tank role pretty much. He's slow. And he gets the lower half. Like when you open up, each character has their own location on a map. So right now it's the home, and the gas station.
Okay.
And it's night play or day play. There's only 2 maps so far. But you spawn in the same areas. The hitchhiker gets traps, and he sets out of bones around areas.
That seems like what he would do. Yeah.
Made out of skeletal remains and stuff like that. But he's not sporting the straight edge razor.
No.
He's sporting knife. Remember when he cut him?
Oh yeah.
Male character has a straight edge, and then there's another male character that has just a regular knife. But the gameplay is pretty brutal. There are some psychotic things that come out of their mouth as they're killing. My favorite kill with the hitchhiker is he's doing a slicing and dicing, and then he as he's doing it, he goes around the back and impales them in the shoulder.
Oh, nice.
And then he slices off their ear and puts it in his bag.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I hear like the gameplay is like Dead by Daylight, which that's what I hear. It's more like relatable to, which I've never played. And there's no time limit, right?
No, there is.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, so it's like Friday the 13th. They have to put fuses in a fuse box, turn off. There's electrical barriers, so they can't run out without being electrocuted. There's underground channel. So you have to escape the nightmare pretty much.
Okay.
But hide well enough, it'll say the game ends. I think there is a counter. I don't see it.
Okay.
But it says hunt is over at the end. So
okay. Have you seen the Killer Clowns trailer?
I have. Yeah.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
I'm dying for that one.
Yeah.
That looks really good. I mean, it's gonna be in the same vein as like Friday 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And you know what? I mean, if they can keep the attention to details, I wouldn't mind like a Nightmare on Elm Street. Obviously, we know we're getting another Friday 13th. That's why Gunn didn't renew their license. What that's going to be like, we don't know.
Yeah.
I'd want to see like a single player mission, like a campaign myself.
Right. You know? Right. I mean, a lot of these games are all about online play.
And I'm not on that.
You know, you get these trolls on there that I just can't stand, and I end up muting everybody.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's definitely enjoyable. It's a lot better than the Evil Dead game I got, which I played for like a month, and I wasn't enthralled.
I have it, but I haven't played it.
It's not all that. It's not
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good session that we caught up on. It's been a bit of time, and that's pretty much it on my end. I mean, I'm looking forward to The Exorcist, even though I'm not. I have mixed reviews.
Yeah, Jared and I are going to go see that October 14th.
Phenomenal. I'll give them that. The makeup looks dead on.
What really caught my attention was like throughout the trailer, they would give like just a little snippet of the Tubular Bells.
Yeah.
And then they hit it full force when Ellen Burstyn came on screen, Reagan's mom.
And I think the concept of her that, you know, it would make sense after that trauma that she'd go into studying it more and writing books about it. You know, because I think in the original film she was an actress, you know.
She was, yeah. And, you know, I'm just leery because it's Blumhouse. They delivered a great 2018 Halloween, and then the sequels just fell flat. So I'm thinking this is what's going to happen again, you know?
Yeah, and I would hope they bring back Linda Blair in one way, shape, or form. I mean, I'd appreciate that.
I think she was on set, but doing what? Don't know. This is how I envision it, since it's going to be a trilogy.
Yeah, she might be getting a feel to see what part 2 is going to, the trilogy.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to call it now. She is going to she's going to come at the very end of the movie for the open ending into part 2.
And lead into. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the makeup looks great, you know, and I get the same demon because they talk to the mother like, hello again, mother.
Yeah.
You know, so it's same one. What was it? You know the name.
Pazuzu. Pazuzu. Yeah. Not to be confused with Zuzu from It's a Wonderful Life.
I'm thinking Izuzu, the old demonic too in its own way.
Yeah. So I think that was a great catching up.
Yeah, it's now that summer's over and we're going into Halloween, we got to do more choose view review and to boot or not to reboot. We'll do some of those. I think the last film we both watched was Piranha.
Yes, so we still had to do that one, review that one.
Yeah, and then we'll keep an eye out on any other movies that are coming out that we feel we should watch. I mean, I'm on Tubi all the time watching vintage horror, which I love. Oh, I did go back and see. Which I loved it then, and it's been about 25 years. Have you ever seen Shockwaves?
No.
Oh my God! So Peter Cushing is in it, and it's in the 60s, and it opens up to these people on a boat, and what's his name? John. He was in The Howling. He was the old man. He's this father of Carradine. John Carradine is
okay,
and he's like the ship's captain. Long story short. They're on this boat outside of the Caribbean, I believe. They really don't go into it. But a shock wave happens under the ocean, and they end up having weird engine problem, and they have to go to this remote island to be rescued. And they run into Peter Cushing, and he is an ex-Nazi living on this island after the war.
Okay.
Who was on a boat not too far offshore that sank, and in that boat was Hitler's finest soldiers, chemically enhanced Nazis at the bottom of the ocean.
And this is called Shockwaves.
Shockwaves, and the shockwaves reanimates them, and they come to the surface and they hunt these people down. It's such a great concept, and I was like, this would be so great as a indie film today, because it's such a straightforward, simple film.
Right.
But the way Cushing delivers the story, and he's like, these were the elite forces of Hitler that he never got to use, and when they escaped on the U-boat, it was sunk down into the to the bottom of the ocean. But yeah,
That sounds good. It's on Tubi, right?
It was on Tubi.
Okay.
It's definitely a cult classic film for me.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, nice. All right.
Yeah, so that's all I got.
All right, sounds good. Well, until then, thanks everyone for tuning in, and if you can, like our page, subscribe to it. We're almost up to 1,000 members on our Facebook page, which is really cool.
Yeah, can't get over that, but we have a lot of interaction, which is cool. I mean, I try to keep it fun with stuff I find on TikTok and stuff. But to go back to our visit to the campground, we will be uploading some additional footage of that, which you added, correct?
They've already seen it on the video, but we're going to keep it as a separate one as well. So that way, I think that will be a good way for people who discover our channel is watching this video, and then
I'll put that up in a segment on our YouTube channel, and then I'll link our Facebook page as well.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you, and we'll see you guys later.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.